Hope you can hear me. Welcome to this very early session about building a large-scale decoupled e-commerce application using Drupal, SAP Commerce Cloud, and React. So this is a case study, and I'm going to be showing you what this project is about and some details on how we built it and how it integrates with Drupal and yeah, how it's doing. So I'm Stefan Weber, Austrian Chilean. I'm the CTO at Onex Internet, located here in Frankfurt. And down there you can also see my Twitter handle. Onex Internet is a full service agency, and we do a lot of development web solutions, mostly based on Drupal and React. We do digital strategy and consulting, user experience design, development, and the whole SEO and online marketing part, and also some hosting, maintenance, support services. And this is one of our colleagues, like in Iceland, bringing the office like to the volcano that's erupting there. And because we are located in many countries in Europe, or we have like colleagues all over the place, around about 60 people from almost everywhere, from South and North America, Asia, Europe. And we speak like over 18 different languages and have offices in Frankfurt, where the headquarters are, but also in Berlin, Reykjavik, and Conil de la Frontera in Spain. But we also have some colleagues like spread around Europe. We were founded in 2013 and have had like a good journey since then. So now about like the project and the client. So the client is Transgourmet Selgros, which is like cash and carry. Selgros is cash and carry. Transgourmet is more for gastro and hotels. It's part of the Co-op group. Transgourmet Selgros, we're talking about like Germany and Eastern Europe. So like it's Romania, Poland, and Russia as well. They have a revenue of like around about 4.5 billion euros a year, over 4 million customers, 17,000 employees. As I said already, like they deliver foods or like groceries to the gastronomy, to hotels, to corporate and social catering, like hospitals and things like that. And they're also in retail. What we do for them is we have a Drupal installation profile or distribution that they use for their like 30 plus web properties. We've built them a design system initially based on Particle. Meanwhile, it's all web components. And yeah, as I said, like over 30 web properties and counting. So like all the corporate sites for Germany and Romania and Poland are part of that for their sub-brands. They have like a handful of sub-brands. So the challenge here, Selgros Germany to start with, they did not have a e-commerce platform. They are purely B2B. The plan for this e-commerce platform was to generate a turnover of 50 million euros in the first year, which has been surpassed. It's very heterogeneous data. They have SAP in the background. They have something called Tandem in the background. And obviously, some other, let's say, like data sources that all needed to be brought together. They have a really complex catalog. They have complex pricing, so pricing is different per customer. So in total, we're talking about like around about 600 million price rows. Their customer onboarding needed to be done because, as I say, like this is like the first e-commerce solution that they launched, and it needed to be flexible to integrate like the e-commerce solution into their web properties, because the shop for Germany is not the same as the shop for, let's say, Poland or Romania. Like I said, like around about 400,000 product variations, 36 markets, cash and carry markets in Germany alone, 600 million price rows, 40,000 customers. That's like the main numbers here. So the solution was decided to use SAP Commerce Cloud in the backend, also known as Hybris back in the days. Drupal CMS as like the shell for these e-commerce sites, and a React frontend that would then display the product catalog from the subcommerce backend. So this shop has like many features, which is like going to show them, or I'm going to show them like later on. But like a B2B shop has like its own, let's say, challenges, right? So obviously we have like faceted search. This is Solr based because like that's what Commerce Cloud relies on. There's wish lists because like these B2B customers, they usually have lists of products that they order in total. Let's say, I don't know, restaurant has like their fall menu, and then they just basically order the same stuff like every week. We have reminders. So on any wish list, you can add like flexible reminders where you get an email to tell you that you should order this again. As like, for example, in restaurants, like you need to do this every week, or like in a canteen. We have paginatable carts. The reason for that is that like it's also rather special, as like they have carts that are like hundreds of items, which is rather unusual for an e-commerce solution. So therefore, like it's not possible to just display this all on one page, or it's like really inefficient. So even the cart needs to be paginatable. They have options for quick ordering, which means that that they can enter like GTINs into a text field. Usually they do this by attaching some barcode scanner to their mobile device and then walk around in their warehouse and scan like the barcodes. There's a banner solution like for advertising, for like they sell internally for their like suppliers, they sell like a banner space, which is also like a solution that was built in Drupal and can be integrated like by the shopping backends. And of course, like there's like pretty detailed tracking, user tracking on the shop itself, from scene products to like the whole e-commerce suite of KPIs that are like interesting for the customer. So on the front end, we opted for a progressively decoupled solution. And I mean, the reason is that obviously they have all their websites built in Drupal. They want their shopping solutions to seamlessly integrate into these sites. Um, and obviously, like, they want to be able to, let's say, launch a new shopping or e-commerce site, like let's say in Poland. Then they want to be able to do this, sort of like integrate this like in the existing Drupal site over there. So what we did here is like to build a Drupal module that takes care of the like to allow React like to use like a route, right? And like all subroutes. So in this case, for example, it's like /shop and all the routes below it. So we can offer deep linking and have like React resolve like any URL that's like below like this shop route. We also use Drupal as an authentication proxy, so we can have like the client ID and client secret in Drupal and not on the client browser, and only username password will be passed through Drupal to the Hybris backend to get like an authentication token. We have like a settings form where we expose like the settings that are being made here, or like the ones that are needed by the React app. We can expose them through Drupal settings. So when the app loads, it goes to Drupal settings, reads like configuration there, and can use that like so we can control from the Drupal backend some parameters of the app itself. Even where the app itself lies, where it's sort of hosted, can be controlled here. So it's like fairly easy to swap out to a new version of the app just from the Drupal backend. So here we just go a little bit deeper into the authentication flow. It's maybe a little bit small to see, but I can just like briefly explain the idea. So we have the user, then like as the actors, we have the user, the browser with the app. We have Drupal, and we have the Hybris backend, right? And as I already said before, like when the user visits like the domain of the site, then Drupal will return, let's say, the shell and like the app code, right? The app will load and present like a login screen or a login form. And when the user enters like username password, this one is passed to Drupal. Drupal sends this like to the Hybris backend along with client ID and secret, and gets in return hopefully an access token and a refresh token, which passes on like to the app again, where it's stored in local storage and is used then for subsequent requests that go straight from the browser to the Hybris backend. We have also like a bit more complex alternative to this because we also built a React Native app that like also like allows the user to use the shop. I'm just going to show this later too. And here, like the thing is like, since we didn't want to rebuild everything as a native solution, we we use like web views as well, right? So we show the shopping solution in the app in a web view. So it means that we have to pass on authentication also from the app to the from the native app to the native browser app, right? From the native app to the browser app, and that is done by just like the native app like does authentication itself against Hybris, right? And then the token that it gets, it will pass to the Drupal site, and the Drupal site is going to write this into a cookie, where then the web app can read it and use sort of like the same authentication token than the native app is using as well. So that's like the example. That's the example down here, right? and for like the native components of the app, they will then just talk directly like to the Hybris backend. So there's no browser, no Drupal involved, and that goes straight there. Yeah, but like I mentioned already, we have like these banners here that they use like either internally to promote products or sell to their like suppliers. And what we built for them is a centralized banner management. You can see like the admin UI here on this side that exposes an REST API where these banners can be pulled from any client, right? And it also allows like to sort of categorize these banners to say for which like cash and carry market they are valid, to say which target system is allowed to display them, and also some categorization, right? So for example here you can see that like this one would be the root category like of the product of the product catalog, but it could also be something like, for example, like a deeper category. So let's say like this gastro non-food would then only show if you're navigating in the shop to a category that is like non-food. It allows then also filtering and like what do you say uh, to randomize like which ones are being shown, and obviously it has functionality for scheduled publishing. The beauty here is that like Drupal gives us like a lot of tools to build this, right? Entities and REST APIs and scheduled publishing and so forth. Yeah, and then we have, like I said, like built a native app like in React. And so it's available in iOS and Android, like on the app stores. It features a in-app DB for product and for product data and also prices. Then, like I said, like each customer might have like different prices on their products depending on their contract that they have with the Selgros, right? And what you see here is yeah, and what it does is like basically it in the background it syncs the product catalog and the prices for the logged in user. So we are able to use this in an offline fashion. So the reason for that is that basically, as I said, like people, they walk through their warehouse and start scanning products, and often like there's no good connectivity or no connectivity at all in the warehouse, and therefore they have like this product catalog with prices on the local device. So when they scan articles, as you can see here, like this milk, then like here on the list, they will already get like their article numbers and and the prices. And then they would be able, like if you're offline, you can just sort of prepare this list, like, you know, like the amounts. And if you're online again, then you're able to push this to the cart. Maybe worth noting here that the reason for building like a native app is basically like the barcode scanner, which is the main functionality, and obviously like this offline capability. So all the other menu items that you see down here, you know, previous orders and favorites or like wish lists, and the cart itself, those are web views. It means that if you switch over there, you know, we do this authentication that we showed before, and you would get like your cart like from the web app and can continue to check out there. And I mean, some of the views, for example, like the product catalog view, which originally was also a web view is being replaced by a native solution, because like we have the catalog there, so like we don't need to rely on the web app like to show it. And maybe some of the other ones over time will also transition into native solutions. But like for the time being, like for the first iteration of this, it's a good compromise. It's if your mobile, if your web app is like properly responsive, and then you basically not notice that you're just leaving the app for a web view. It works pretty neat. I think that's about it. So I'm a bit short and like have some time left. So we're just like gonna go and take a look here at maybe show the web shop in real life, right? Yeah. So this is like built in Hybris in the backend, but heavily customized, obviously, because like, I mean, they have their own specialities. Like a customer can have like different customer numbers. Like, for example, like if you're a restaurant owner and you have 2 restaurants, then you have a customer number for each of the restaurants, because that like will also set like where your delivery is going to go, right? And then you can also have here, you have the option of choosing like the delivery date itself, because of course, like they don't deliver every day. So you can see here, so that like for this one, it would be possible tomorrow, Friday, or then like the next one would be on Monday again, because they don't do delivery on the weekend, right? So you pick your delivery day, and then you are here at the product catalog. What's maybe interesting, so as I showed like in one of the screens before, so this whole part here is the app, right? You can see that we're here like under this shop URL. So whatever sort of sub URL React will manipulate here, this all belongs like to the shopping app. So if I reload here, Drupal will not do anything. It will just say like, oh, okay, you're in the shop URL, so I'm not responsible for this, right? So like the app itself can just manipulate everything under shop. Mm. So this part up here is also a React app injected, like, so basically like this whole part and this part, these are like diffs where like the app renders itself in. We use something called like portals from React that like basically allows like to inject your app into more than one location on the site. And this has the advantage that like you can keep state and exchange state between like these components, even though they are not like sort of in one diff. What we also do here is like we want to, of course, like avoid page reloads. So, and since this is like a Drupal menu, and this is also rendered by Drupal, right? We just hijack like these 2 elements. So if I click here, nothing happens because I'm already there. But if I go here and I go back like to shop, right? You didn't see any page reload because like these links are just controlled by the React app. And as you can see, what's kind of special here, you know, like people, they order different quantities than what you're used like from a regular shop, like a consumer shop. So it can, so like you have like many articles or items that are not only available, you know, like as one piece, but you also can buy like cartons of 40 or like whatever options they have here, right? Or 12 or things like that. Mm. And so if we, and as you can see here, like, I mean, this item is in the cart already, you know, and you can see here, this little number below. So I have over 999 items in the cart of it. We can just take a look at it, right? So I have 1,000 pieces of butter in in the cart. Like I already showed, like this banner comes from another domain, but also like a Drupal site, right? Where like they can just like add banners as they need. So what I also showed before, I think we can see this here, like the cart, right? Has like 31 articles, but it's really common to have like articles, carts that have like, I don't know, 200 items or something. And as you can see, like we have the pagination here, so we can switch, you know, the between like the pages of the cart, which can get pretty big and not really, you can't really handle this like in one page. What you can always do is like I showed, like these wish lists, right? So I can just go here and just fill my cart, and then I go there and I can just say, all right, then please create me a wish list from this, right? So, or a favorites list. And then you would be able to have like this cart as a wish list in here. You know, here I have one with one article. Just go here and say, I don't know, I just want to have Coca-Cola, also my bar list. They don't have any Coca-Cola. Whatever, let's just buy something else then. Put some ice cream in there. Can add this to any of my wish lists that already exists, or create a new one. So I'm just gonna add here 3 items like to the bar list. And you can see now that's marked as being in a wish list. And if I go there and check my bar list, you know, I will have my chocolate chips in here. We always show, like, for example, like this Fanta is already in the cart, right? So we just like, wherever you are, you can see like what's in your cart, or if something is in a wish list already. And so you have like good visibility, like even from the cart, you can see like that this item is in a wish list, right? And so what I can do, like, of course, like with a wish list, is just order the complete list, right? That's the main idea about this. But you cannot also do that. You can just like, if this is just a reminder for you, you can just go and like add like only these items manually. You can obviously change your wish list. You will get like a warning that you just changed the amounts in your wish list, and if that's okay. And I mean, you can filter, you can sort them, you can do all sorts of things. What's also interesting here, you can set your reminders. This is pretty nice functionality where you can say like, I want to be reminded, let's say 9 o'clock, and then I want this repeating every week. And so if I repeat this every week, you know, I can say on which weekday, or I can just do monthly, and then I can say on what day of the month I want to have my reminders, and like if it's supposed to end at some point, and like who should be reminded. You know, I can add like multiple addresses for this reminder. So these are all functionalities that are obviously not out of the box in Hybris or anything, and had to be built on top. What's also an important feature here is, like, similar to wishlist, you can also go to your previous orders, right? And so let's have, for example, like here, I don't know, like a bigger one, and I can just like reorder this one, right? But of course I can also just go into details and see what was it here. I of course can't change anything because it's immutable, because it's like a previous order, but I could just go and add like single articles of it, or order the whole thing, or create a wish list out of this. Yep. So as you saw, like, we have autocomplete here in the search, and we have like you can filter by like the articles that you bought in the last 180 days. You have like a huge category tree, right? You have brand filters, and like this is so cooled items only, or you can filter these kind of things, right? So what we haven't seen, so for example, butter, you're supposed to keep it cool. Is like a product detail page, nothing special here. But obviously, like there's a lot of relevant data here that's like mandatory for a company that sells like groceries, right? You have to like this is packaging and logistics. Then you have like here, for example, like if it has like allergens or something, and then like obviously the nutritional values. So the whole concept of this is to roll this out also like all over like Poland, Romania, and Russia. Initially, we supported customers coming like from 2 different backend systems, because at the same time where this was developed, they were also transitioning from something called Tandem to SAP. So at some point, we were supporting SAP users and users from this other system, and so like the complexity in the end became quite big. But nonetheless, it's working really nice. It's been adopted really nice by the customers, and so like this is now being further developed and rolled out across their companies in Europe. This is for Selgros, but it's going to be also available then for Transgourmet, which is the other brand, and for the country stores in their Europe and their like Eastern Europe sub companies. Yeah, so it all started for us like like by creating their design system, right? And from there on, like we went over like to building their distribution or their like their install profile. Like I told, like already like more than 30 properties are live with that, and basically also with, let's say, relatively customized like front ends, because like of course like some of their brands, they don't look just like so simple and red, so they have more consumer oriented ones. And yeah, I think that's my showcase. And we have some time left, but I think it's fine. So if there's any questions, please just put them in the Q&A. I see already one from John. Does this architecture support more than one language for translation? Yes, it does. So basically, we only show it in German. As for like the shop front end, Drupal, of course, is like multilingual. So therefore, like we have also, let's say, I think I can also show this. Like if we go Selgros Poland, no, that's not it. Yeah, so they have also like obviously this is Romanian, right? So, but for the shop part, we also like we read like the site language, like Drupal provides the site language or the selected language, and in the app we have like language files or translation files for all the different languages available, which at the moment are then of course just like the ones that the countries need. So, but basically you could like have the whole thing in English, because we use this as the base language for the translations. Does that answer the question? Okay. Is there any other questions? Doesn't look like it. Therefore, I mean, we have some time left, but like I think it's also fine. Then you can just, it's early in the morning. That's a good question actually from Theodore. From Theodore, like the question is like, do you think Drupal should get better at being a proxy for things like auth and API, etc.? So what we obviously here have like a little bit, not as a challenge, but you know, like as an annoyance, right? Is that that since we're talking directly like to the Hybris backend, you know, we have to have like all course settings properly configured. Because like here we run on shop.selgros.de, but like the Hybris backend obviously is under a different domain, right? And so the authentication is not a problem because like we go through Drupal, right? And then we don't need any course. But here, like for the when we are authenticated, we talk straight to the Hybris backend, and then we do need course. But we could, of course, also use Drupal as the proxy here as well. And actually, what we do a lot at Onex Internet is use like the API proxy module from Drupal, which actually allows like to do exactly that, to use Drupal as a proxy. It's really, really sleek. It's like, you know, it's fast and it's nicely configurable. So you can add headers or remove stuff. You can add authentication in between. And we just didn't do it here because like back then we weren't using it yet, but since we've been using it a lot, so API proxy, the Drupal module, I can just absolutely recommend that. It's a perfect companion for Drupal, especially like if you have more complex landscapes where like other services come in, and then you can just like make sure that everything kind of goes like through your domain and you have control over like the traffic. So one separate domain for each of the supported languages. So it's a bit of a difficult, not difficult question, but the thing is like that usually. So the German shop only has German, and the Romanian one only has Romanian. So we don't really have the problem of like having to have it available in one market in two languages yet, right? But so we it has not been decided if it needs to be like one domain or different domains because it's not a use case at the moment. All I know is that you know Drupal of course supports like the multilingual, and the app is also prepared for it. So when it would come to it, like we would have to decide like what the better strategy is. So Theodore, again, like this is a good example of Tree's composable organization. Was it more fun, easy to develop this way, or the old way of Drupal 6.7? Of course, it's fun. You know, like building something rather complex. It's always fun, right? It's always also challenging. I think there's no way around this anymore. You know, like the monolith um, is almost non-existing in big organizations anymore. You just have to connect to different services. You have to connect to different backends. You have to have the possibility to do hybrid solutions that like this one, you know, like don't only rely on Drupal. I mean, it would be impossible to migrate like such a product catalog into Drupal. I mean, it would be possible maybe, but you know, it doesn't make so much sense. Like, I mean, there's already like a commerce backend that is like meant for like these huge catalogs, right? Maybe you're not the same. You're not like they have a different vendor for their shopping, you know. Um, so absolutely. Um, the, it also gives you like a lot of flexibility, let's say, right, to build front ends that like let's say like with a normal Drupal render engine would be like more complex to do, or you would have to do like a lot of Ajax and like and whatnot. And here you can just build your app, like attach it to your services, and you're good to go. And you can, I mean, it's so nice to integrate or to progressively decouple things in Drupal. It just works fine. And Drupal, on the other hand, has like really the strength of being like a, let's say, like a stable shell, offer like all the goodies that Drupal has, like for like all the rest of the pages, and so I think they just really go well together. What Drupal could make easier, I don't know. I think like in the end, there's maybe not like simple solutions for complex problems, and I think Drupal does quite well. It gives you all the tools you need. Um, I wouldn't say so. I think like, I mean, of course, like it would be nice, like sort of like to have an easier entry to doing like these kind of projects, but in the end, like I mean, it's not like that. Like a newbie will like build something like this. So you require like knowledge anyways, and therefore, like if you don't know how Drupal works, you should maybe not start a project like this. There is some modules that like help you like to get like, for example, like React widgets like included. I think there's good documentation on like how to do this, like how to include libraries and whatnot. So I think like if you're doing like simpler things, then documentation is there and it's fine. All right, thanks for the questions. So if there's no more questions, then I think we're also like good in time. Thank you everyone for attending and like for being curious about like this solution. And yeah, have an awesome day with good sessions and a good rest of the DrupalCon.